Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in, because in this video we are going to take a close look at the F1 620 in 1. And it is the Plus edition, and I'm just going to be honest, this name of the console makes no sense. Like, this device is called the F1 and it is the Plus edition. It's kind of weird, you know, like, and always they need to mimic the colors of the Nintendo Switch somehow. So when it comes to the Chinese handhelds, it's like a freaking jungle of these things, and I just need to be honest with you guys. I can't help myself. I just need to buy these things just to see what I was going to get. Sometimes it's crap, sometimes it's pretty damn awesome. So that's the reason I love to make these videos. So this one also comes with a controller, and this thing is kind of weird. I don't know what to think about it, to be honest. It comes with AV out cable, because these things can be used like, you can take consideration, you can use this like in game systems or like a hybrid device. Then we're going to get the toilet paper manual, this thing called the Retro FC. Alright, so it's a Retro FC Plus Edition F1 or whatever. Yeah, okay, so nothing really interesting in the toilet paper manual, and of course, then we're going to get ourselves the cable. Ooh, this one we're going to get ourselves a very long cable. It looks used or something, but there's a micro USB for charging, and there's no adding games to it. And if you're like plugging it most of the time in your computer, nothing happens. So here at the back we're going to get ourselves the old school BL5C. This is the Nokia battery, and they're giving us the 1020 milliamp. There's even a bigger one that gives you a couple of hours more playtime. And here we're going to get the handheld itself, and holy shit, look at this. This is one gigantic D-pad. Like, normally we're going to get this tiny D-pad, but we're going to get a big one. So it's a very clickish, flimsy D-pad. That's just a fact. Here we're going to get some membrane buttons, select start, volume control, reset over here, the ABXY. The weird thing is, like, the ABXY is quite tiny compared with that. Here we can see the speaker in the inside. So the thing weighs almost nothing. The same for the battery. But I love that you're just using these basic batteries, because they are like dirty cheap. So if you want to have, if you just need to have a replacement, you want to have a bigger one, or you need to have a couple of them, just so we could have some brave fight, you need to put them in there, like. But then what you're going to get with these devices is like super easy to replace the batteries. And I'm always recommending, if you're not using them, just pull out the battery. Okay, so the controller. Okay, so this is like the limited edition flimsy cheap ass controller, because it smells chemical to begin with. The D-pad, and that's the weird thing, is like the D-pad is not bad at all. Like, it's a small D-pad, a normal size D-pad, and that is a very nice curve to it. And the touch, it has like some resistance, but it feels quite nice, to be honest. Not that cheap than the freaking handheld. Like, that's kind of weird. Like, the D-pad feels cheaper on the handheld than actually on the controller. And what I like about these things, you plug it in your micro USB port, and what you're going to do is use this thing like in game system. Oh, by the way, it only recognizes most of the time like player 2 so far I know. So that is the thing that you need to take consideration. It's more like you plug in the device in the television, what we show you in this video. Plug this thing in the device and let's have some fun. But let's power it on and let's see what we're going to get. So at the top we're going to get the micro USB for charging, and the second controller. Here we're going to get the TV out and the slider on and off for turning it on. Yeah, okay, wicked. Great, the bloody thing is empty. And no, the battery is in the right position. Oh. Okay guys, so let's take a close look at the device itself. So first of all, the audio goes quite loud. And you need to press the button over here, but you can only like on the high settings and go completely like ruins the experience. Yeah, the display, a basic display like all the cheap handhelds. Like no normal decent viewing angle. Needs to choose the freaking language every time if you don't boot it up. Here, reset, like I already told you before. Alright. We're going to get different songs. Okay, let's see if we can going to get different songs. Okay, that's kind of funny. So basically you're going to get a song with the Chinese list, but not with the English list. Okay, that's quite interesting. Okay, so with the game list 620, we have seen it before. The list will be slightly different. There's no freaking alphabetic order. I think they have never heard about alphabetic order or somewhere over there, because it's always going to be the same freaking issue. We're going to get see a lot of weird titles, but we're also going to see a lot of familiar titles. The list itself is quite huge, and it takes a very long time before actually going to get some knockoff games, or in the end double games. Well, the list itself is not perfect. I have seen myself some better lists. Yeah, I already noticed a lot of double games. I think there will be like around 100 games at least. Something like that. Okay, one of my childhood games, Turtles. I've played this game so much. Alright, let's get this freaking screen protector off. You can see like the freaking screen is going to start flickering when I'm putting with maximum volume. Okay, so that is quite interesting that it starts in this part of the freaking game. What the hell? This is a kind of a bootleg game or whatever. Like everything is messed up. What the hell? What the hell? Oh man, that is not good. Let's reset and try a different game. Okay, so like always we're going to get a massive screen tearing on this freaking device. The audio itself. The turbo doesn't seem to be working fine. But I can say like the press of the button is freaking awful. Like it's so not comfortable. Oh man, like I think this can be in my top 5 or not. Yeah, I think in my top 5 of most horrible consoles to play. So yeah, pretty damn awful display. Going to get yourself like a horrible button configuration because the turbo button, everything like has been messed up. But the game seems to be working just fine. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to try is the TV out function. So when you're plugging in, it basically like disconnects the internal display so you can just play the games like this. Okay, so let's boot up another game just to see how it actually works on this. Silence. Very good. But when it comes to the emulation part, it seems to be working just fine, only somehow I cannot really use the freaking game because when I'm pressing start or select or something like that, it doesn't freaking work. Okay, so let's see if we can play another game. Alright, select seems to be working fine. So when you're looking at the image quality, it's not the best. I also hear like a weird interference. So the D-pad is responsive despite it is really bad. So the next thing I'm very curious about is like how will this like second controller work out? Will it actually going to be working well or is it going to be like a freaking nightmare? But the downside is if you want to play and load, that is not going to work. Okay, another game I wanted to try out is the Kung Fu game, and the weird thing is like when I had my voltage or my adapter attached, I couldn't get the game to work. So I figure that there's something wrong when you're plugging in the adapter and you actually want to play some games. That is some weird messed up stuff. Another thing is like they didn't mess it up with the audio because I did hear all the sound effects. That was another problem I had with the old pieces of handhelds that you picked up from AliExpress back in the day. Okay, so let's try the 2 freaking players. And what you can see over here, I'm getting my ass kicked because I have no idea which button to press at the moment. But it seems to be working just fine. Oh man, I really hated the freaking controls of Dragon Ball or Double Dragon 2. So when it comes to this handheld, when you're looking at the picture, it looks kind of cool. But when you're getting it in my hands, I must say I was quite disappointed. Seriously, like this thing has such a waste of plastic materials, like it's so flimsy. I know, I wouldn't say I can break in half when I'm going into the Wicked Hulk mode. But I can tell you like the quality itself, also the battery that came with it, I tried to charge it, didn't even charge at all. So stuff like that will happen. Yeah, for the money, I would say like you cannot complain, but let's be honest, like at least the battery needs to be working. So I really love that they give us a bigger D-pad, but when you're looking at the freaking D-pad quality, it's not that great. Like how it's freaking possible that the freaking D-pad on the controller is better than on the freaking handheld itself. What a weird situation we're having here, I can tell you that. But let's remove the last freaking screw and let's open it up. Okay, so here we're going to get the speaker itself. So here you can see already like how thin the plastic is. Let's smell it again, because I love to smell stuff. But in overall, the design, especially with the two colors, it's kind of cool in my opinion. But when you're looking at the final result, I am not really pleased with it. I can tell you that. Okay, always like be gentle with all the spare parts and the parts itself. Yeah, if I'm going to ruin the handhelds, I will have in spare parts now. Okay, so let's remove the second freaking Parker. And let's see what we're going to get in the inside. Let me guess. So here we're going to get the main board itself. So you can see like they are using this cheap LCD display with a ribbon cable that goes in here, but it's very convenient, so I can swap it out if it's needed. They are using like these 4 foams for supporting the display. It's going to be a nest on a chip like always. And there we're going to get the black blob, but they are also doing that for protecting their information. And they did solder the speaker on the mainboard itself. Here we're going to get ourselves the membrane buttons. Never seen those. Mostly they are using like the translucent versions, but this time they don't. It's quite interesting if you ask me. So this is basically what we're going to get in the inside. Nothing really fancy, but yeah, what can you expect from $1.15 or something like that from an handheld? Okay guys, so what do I think of it? I was surprised to see like we're going to get actually like it's a flimsy controller, but it's playing very well compared with this freaking piece of crap. Because the D-pad, it's huge, like absolutely cool that they do this. But when you're looking at these tiny buttons, I really hate it. I know like they may try to mimic the Nintendo Switch, and to be honest, like I really hate those tiny buttons on the Switch too. But the thing is like, it's super low quality. Like the case itself, when I say I'm going to break it in half very easily, but when you look at the way how it, like the cheap display, we've seen it before, the crappy game list, but I noticed like the emulation itself is getting slightly better. I mean like it's still going to get some screen tearing to the maximum level, but I've noticed now is like the audio is not having the same weird like missing audio stuff. That is the thing that they fix in the end. I want to thank you for watching. Consider subscribing. Let me know in the comments what do you think of this. And yeah, it will be great to see you in the next video.